I asked you, what causes you to lose most of your races in Disney Speedstorm? And let me tell you, this is going to be a very juicy-goosey episode. What is a juicy-goosey? It's going to be juicy-goosey episode coming up. Today. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, fair warning, I want to say this topic might be a little heavy. I've read some of the comments. I glanced at them. I didn't read them too much. I wanted to kind of be surprised on the podcast, but there's some stuff being said, and obviously I have my own opinion. As someone who's reached the top 100 on the leaderboard, as someone who's played with high static racers, low static racers, mid static racers, I really got the feel for how the rank system works. But this is probably going to be some heavy talk. So if you want to hear about how multiplayer is ran right now, continue to listen. If not, the door is over. The click is open. Let's get into the podcast. Welcome everyone to podcast number 3. If you don't know how this works, every week I ask a question. I pull some of the comments that are the most controversial, something that I could talk about, you know what I'm saying? And we put them on the podcast and we talk about them together. But enough of the chit chat, let's hop into why we're here. Again, I asked the question, what causes you to lose most races in Disney Speedstorm? Helm said, I tend to get matched with level 35 plus players. I almost cursed. Helm, why you trying to make me curse, Helm? I don't know what's going on. We got to talk. But HE double hockey sticks. I am at level 25 with Oswald 2-star and stuck at 25 NPR because such unfair matchmaking. I even got into a match with 40 plus level players. I know where you're coming from. I feel you. I have a theory how ranked works. First of all, I just want to explain ranked matchmaking is based off NPR. I know I've had some comments and I've seen some things where people were saying that, oh, it's skill-based matchmaking. I don't even think you can pull a skill-based matchmaking with this type of system that they have. That's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother podcast, but that's not something I think that they can even do right now. And then you have the other people that might say it's based off levels. And I think there's a little bit of truth into that, but again, we'll talk about that later into this podcast. It's gonna be a juicy episode. So I do want to say though, how I think it works is I think that they basically think a certain margin of players that are in a certain NPR bracket are going to be a certain star level and a certain level. What? Let me explain. So basically, if you're, let's just say NPR 1 to 10, right? The game might think you're going to be a 1-star, maybe level 10 racer. Let's say you break off into like NPR 22. Now the game might think you're going to be at least maybe 2 to 3 stars with like a level 25, level 30 character. And you can kind of see how we might have different levels bleed in. Because if the system thinks that you're supposed to be a certain star level or a certain level, why do I keep saying that? A certain star level or a certain level, then you can see how we could all get mashed together. Now, it's kind of weird because there's also an NPR matchmaking, and how the NPR matchmaking works, or at least what we've been told, it's based off of being 10 levels in between each other, okay? So if we think about this logically, is there really any logic to their system? No, I'm troll. Let's think about it logically. So if we say, okay, I'm level 25 Oswald with 2 stars, and technically the game thinks I'm supposed to be between level 15 or NPR 15 and NPR 20, right? But because Oswald is better than a lot of the other characters, you're shaving off like 3 seconds off every single lap that you do on each track. Now you're squeezing yourself into an NPR bracket that you should not be in if it's designed like this, which means you are going to go against players that are higher level and higher stars because the system doesn't think you should be there. That's just not how the system like calculates the game, basically. It's very weird. That's a very bare bones type of ranked system, but if that's how it's made, especially because it is technically a mobile game, if that's how it's made, then that is why we're running into a lot of these issues. Now, as far as level 40s go, that's a little crazy. But a lot of the times you'll see players playing with other people. And so now you have people with a lobby of 3. And sometimes their friend is like 4 stars stacked level 40, and then you got someone that's like a 2-star 25, and they're playing together. Now, I think playing together is always something good to do, but that is definitely why you're running into some levels that you should not be running into. And I've noticed that quite a lot, and that's something I don't really like about the rank system. Not only does it not gauge your skill, as I said, that's a whole nother conversation, but not only does it gauge your skill, but it also has a lot of loopholes. And it's a lot of the loopholes that doesn't affect anyone unless you have Well, let me put it another way. So you guys know that I've reached top 100 on the leaderboard. Let me start with that. I've reached top 100 on the leaderboard. I've climbed characters from rookie to diamond without leveling them up, just doing it based off the stars that they've had. I've leveled, or I've ranked up characters with minimal levels and minimal stars intentionally. I really wanted to know how the game works when you're not stacked up constantly. And now that I said that, I can say what I was going to say. And what I was going to say is that the fact that I've done all this already, I can say what I'm about to say. And that is that a lot of the players that might be at the top don't understand the struggles of the players that aren't at the top. Now, let me clarify. Again, there is no real skill matchmaking. So if you are at the top, this is sadly how this ranked leaderboard works. And I don't want to offend anybody, but I'm just telling you like a TI is. In the words of late Bernie Mac, RIP, I'm sorry, that came out of nowhere. But basically, this rank system is designed like this. How much time do you play? How much cash do you have? Or how many levels and stars do you have? If you've played a lot longer than everybody else, you should have more stars and levels. If you cash, you should have more stars and levels. Now you have these stats. The next question is, how long do you spend grinding the ladder? And if you spend more time grinding the ladder than someone else, that's how you climb the ladder. So there's not really much of it like, I'm climbing the ladder because, you know, I'm busting my butt and I'm getting there. It's more of like a time-based thing. It's like you can either play all your matches to get to where you want to be on the leaderboard and get there instantly, or you could just do a match a day and eventually you'll get there. Climbing the rank ladder right now is basically just until you get there. It's no struggle. It's no issue, especially if you are 4 stars or 5 stars, you don't really struggle. And the gap between stars, the amount of speed that you get works like this. I can bust my butt drifting all day long, but if you are more stars and levels than I am, then you can just drive and you'll beat me. I've lost to players like this. As I said, I intentionally minimized how I climb the ladder just to see how it works. People don't really understand the struggles of the players that can't afford shards or can't or just they weren't around for like the free shards or the free characters. And so you have players that are using 1 star or 2 star struggling like Helm here against higher levels. And it's not because you're not losing because you're not good. You're just, the game is designed to say, hey, if you've been playing longer, or if you've been cashing more, get your butt to the top of the leaderboard. If you haven't been, good luck. And that's how the game is right now. And so that's why I said what I wanted to say. I've been to the top of 100 already. I've played multiple characters. I've like actually intentionally start up and intentionally leveled up my characters. And there's just a drastic difference between what you do and who you go against when you are higher stars and higher level. It's actually disgusting. You are super fast. Helm, thanks for the comment. I do appreciate it. Let's move on. The next comment is from Jeff Bites. Also, a face that I've never seen before. Maybe I've seen it like once, but I don't know. But if you're new, good to see you. Welcome to the Poppin' Often with Lofton club, I guess. You want to join the Discord, of course, link down there in the description below. But not just you, Jeff Bites, anybody. Come on over. We'll be glad to have you. We'll be chit-chatting together. You have a long one, so I'm gonna dissect this. No, I'm gonna go slow. So an overwhelmingly amount of consecutive stuns, one after another after another. The cooldown on stunning is next to none. Iframes don't seem to exist, and you can get rammed, then disked, then fired, all in 5 seconds, and get put right back to 6th to 8th. Where that same stun loop happens again. I agree. Disney Speedstorm, let's kind of even dissect that a little bit further. So Disney Speedstorm's combat system works like this. I don't think people know this, but the combat system works like this. If you have a higher combat score than whoever stuns you, your score, or you're not going to be stunned for that long. I think that's how it works. But the combat score determines how long you're stunned for. If I have 4,000 combat score and they have 2,000 combat score, if I stun you, you're stunned for longer. If I'm stunning someone who's 4,000 just like me, then they're stunned for less. If they have more, then they're stunned for even less. This is why sometimes you'll stun somebody and they just seem like they're unfazed and they just jet off with like boosts and whatnot. That is exactly why. So the issue with this is that when you start up a character, there are hidden stat boosts. And it's not even just to speed, I've noticed. It's pretty much to almost all your stats. There's a hidden like star boost, or the game's glitch. I would hope it's not been glitched for this long, but it wouldn't surprise me, because sometimes they be leaving some stuff in. But your stun time against someone who has a higher star level than you is going to be ridiculous. I promise, if you try it, if you give it a go, you're going to notice, even with the character that has less stun power than you, if they are a higher starred than you are, then their stun power is going to be stronger than yours. It doesn't matter. I have been a level 1 4-star and stunned the crap out of somebody that is a higher level and they're 3 stars. Why? Because of the simple fact that I have more stars than them. And so that's one of the reasons you could be running into this issue. As far as the iframes go, Disney Speedstorm servers is kind of jacked. No, it is. It's janky. And a lot of the issues is that players need to connect to the server and then connect to you. And there's a whole bunch of stops internets make before they get to each other. And so if someone has a bad connection, and Disney Speedstorm's connection is, and then it gets to you, you're going to have some issues, right? And you can tell this a lot by, if you've ever stunned someone, but it didn't register. If you ever threw something at someone, but it didn't register, you didn't get nitros. Like, that is the synchronization issue. And that's a problem with a game like this, because a lot of the stuff in Disney Speedstorm is fast. It's fast. Like, a ram is instant. A disc throw, instant. Like, a lot of this stuff is instant. And we don't even want to talk about abilities. So a lot of this stuff is instant. This means that if someone is having these issues, they might put a fire down, but you might not see it yet. And you will run over it anyway, and you'll be stunned because you ran over it on their screen. The game just has to catch up. Sometimes you will get stunned for no reason. You're like, huh, where did that come from? Unfortunately, that's not going to be fixed until I think other stuff is fixed. I don't think that's one of their main issues right now, but that is definitely a reason why you end up in a lot of the stun loops that you're talking about, is because you're not really technically just being stunned by the players, but also sometimes some things just take a minute to register that you've been stunned, which means if you've been stunned twice already on their screen, it feels like you're not invincible for that long, because you already came back to being invincible. So that's just kind of weird. But let's just say on my screen I stunned you, right? And now you're getting out of your invincibility field for a second, and maybe the other guy didn't see it yet. Then he can stun you too. It's very weird, but that is what happens a lot of the times. If you feel like you've been stunned, you're like, how do I even move? It's because of the synchronization issue. So hopefully they'll fix that. If they don't, we might be in the same problem. So pair the stun timer with the sync issue, and then we got a hoedown. It's like getting Mario Karted dialed up to 1,000, and it feels incredibly unfair sometimes. No amount of nitro saving, drift boosting, and careful planning can prepare you for the inevitable death of stun loop. I agree. And the less stars you have, or the higher you are playing in like the rank, you're probably not gonna be able to win. And that's one of the issues Disney Speedstorm has. Not only do they have abilities that literally are given to you like candy, but you also have to deal with ramming, which is in turn an ability itself that you could just spam. And so like, there's too much stuff given to players at this point in time for everything to just be broken, so to speak. Now, you guys might not like me saying that, but Disney Speedstorm is unbalanced. It is not a balanced game whatsoever. And so when you compare the unbalancedness to the amount of resources they give us, again, items, the ability to just ram and do whatever you want, and then the nitros management, like, you can get nitros like out the wazoo pretty much doing anything in this game. And there's just too much stuff given to players in a game where everything is just everywhere. And that is one of the reasons why you're ending up in a stun loop. Is not only because you are in the pack, right? Whenever you're in a pack in a racing kart game, you're going to get slammed by a whole bunch of items, but there's too many items given to players. And on top of that, these tracks aren't wide enough to compensate for that, especially if you are a higher star level. The more you star up, the better your abilities get, your character abilities and your skills. And then you can use crew members to even make your skills stronger. Everything is so claustrophobic. You're given too many items, and that's what makes it frustrating, and that's what makes it hard to deal with. This is one of the reasons why playing in rank and in high rank is so irritating. Is because as soon as you're stunned, as soon as the game does something stupid, as soon as something bad happens, you lose the race. And it's kind of just like, well, why do I queue for like 40 to 50 seconds, sometime even longer than that, just to get into the game, get ran by a brawler at the start, or somebody has a crew and smacks me and I just lose the race right there because I can't catch up. And this trickles down to lower ranks because you're going against people that are a higher star level than you. So not only do they have an advantage because they are a higher star level, but if they stun you at the start, you are screwed. You're not catching up. It's not designed to let you catch up. You are supposed to be slower than they are. So I see where you're coming from, Jeff Bites. I do. I really do. But unfortunately, that's how the game is ran right now. Hopefully in season 6, they do something about this rank system. I don't care if they split it up. Let the people that want to, max their characters and whatnot and really show like, bro, I got my stuff collected. I'm statted, bro. Come see me. Let them have their own queue. But give some people that don't care about all that the ability to play in a more calm environment and just let that be. Like, why do we gotta play together? It's horrible. It sucks. And that's coming from someone who's reached the top 100 on the leaderboard. That's coming from someone who has stacked characters. It's still not fun. I hate winning because I'm more statted than you, but I hate losing because you're more statted than me. And it doesn't really happen that often because, again, I've been playing since early access, so I have a lot of stuff. But you'll notice it if like new characters come out. I'll tend to just play with like 1-star, 2-star, and then get their like shards through ranking, and that's when you can really feel like the tenseness. I can still win because of the amount of drifting and stuff that I do, but if I am stunned, like if you don't have a perfect race when you're understarred or under leveled, you just lose the race. That is frustrating. Jeff Bites, great comment. I appreciate it. I do. Let's move on to the next one. The next comment is from Steven, a Poppin' Often with Lofton member. Good to see you, Steven. There are 2 very annoying situations that sometimes prevent me from reaching the top 4 in multiplayer. Number 1, getting stunned while in the air, which results in falling between ramps. Bro, 100% agree. 100%, 1,000% agree. In games like Mario Kart, I think even Crash Team Racing, if you get stunned like right before the ramp or stunned in the air, they'll try to push you over. It doesn't always work. You will fall down in Mario Kart if hit by a red shell while trying to fly. That does happen quite often. But the game will try to get you over. And if it's before a ramp, the game will get you over. They will push you past that spot. You don't fall in beneath, or you don't fall in between the holes. And that is something I really can't stand with this game. And as much as I like playing it, I can't stand that because a lot of the stunts too are unavoidable. Like there's some characters that just have abilities that will just smack you. Jumbo, for an example. How you can't dodge that unless you have a cloak or a shield. You're screwed. And so if you just happen to be right before a little ramp or before a gap, especially on that frozen map, you are screwed. Like it's a done. And even on that frozen map where those big snowballs drop down, even if you have a shield or something to protect yourself, if you are hit by that, you are slowed tremendously. And again, you can't go across the gap. It's really unfun, and I really hope that gets it. Like, there's anything to fix in this game, that would definitely be one of them. The second thing that they said is being the one that gets hit by everyone's attacks back to back. True, pretty much like Jeff Bites says, that stun loop is ridiculous. And again, one of the main issues with this game too is that you can get hit by multiple of the same abilities. If I have a fire trail and I'm driving and you get stunned, it's like, haha, you got stunned, but then you could get stunned again and again and again until it runs out. So not only do we have the ability to get hit by the same ability repeatedly, but you also have 7, well, I guess 6, aside from the person that just stunned you, 6 other players in the match. And you guessed it, yeah, you can get hit by all 6 other players repeatedly. So, yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun at all. Like I said, like I always say, Disney Speedstorm is a lot more fun when you're the one on top, when you're the one statted, when you're the one with stars, when you're the one with levels. And I think that's something that they actually feed on. And I don't mean that as like, riot against Disney Speedstorm, that's not what I'm saying. They designed it this way. This is how they want it to be ran. But obviously more sales are going to come because players realize they don't like to play against that. If you really love Speedstorm, and you are frustrated, you're just going to cash out. Period. You don't want to play, you don't want to feel like crap playing the game that you enjoy playing, right? And how do you alleviate that? By spending money. That's what I mean by saying they feed off of it, not maliciously, but how the game is designed, that's kind of, it's feeding off of like that feeling. The next thing is, in both situations, I'm just waiting for the game to finish all animations and register the collision. Pretty much. This takes so much time that afterward it's impossible to catch up to other racers. Pretty much. And there's sometimes, again, with the combat score, you'll be stunned for like 3 seconds. Like, you'll be stunned so long that you'll go to a complete stop and you can't move still. And then you can move. And it's like, why is this a thing? Like, why is there different stun timers for people that have different combat stats? Like, y'all trolling. No, for real. Like, y'all. And when we think of a rank system, no, listen up real quick. When we think of a rank system, we think that it should be fair, right? You could say, oh, there could be rank systems based off of how much stuff you have, which is true. That's true. Now, that's not wrong, especially for mobile games. Their rank system is definitely designed like that. But I don't know. I feel like Disney Speedstorm has such a competitive edge, and the way you play the game is so unique. And I feel like that should have been their, making the game fair and balanced should have been their game plan from drop, because then you could build on all this microtransactions crap. And then, I'm not even gonna say crap. That's disrespectful. Every game needs microtransactions, especially if it's free to play. Theirs is a little egregious, but everything needs it. But what I'm saying is, if we focus on balancing the game first, it's a much better experience for everybody down the line. And when players respect the game, when players respect the company, when players really love what the quality, they'll just cash out regardless. Right now, the people cashing out are the people that are upset they can't get characters, or upset that they're losing because they are understated. And then you have the people at the top of the leaderboard that just cash just because they want to remain there. Again, that's no salt to nobody, but that's just facts, right? That is obvious. There's no salt there. That is just an obvious observation. And so when we have stuff like that, it's like you could have so much more money from the people that either don't want to cash crazily, or the people that just, like, in the middle. You know, there's like the people that just really want to play for casual, and you got people that are like hardcore. In that little middle section could be a lot more money gained if it were more towards fair. And a lot of the players that are new will leave because it's not fair. And a lot of the players that are old will leave because they get tired of it. It's not really fun to always go against the same players over and over that are stacked out their mind, especially once you get higher in the ranks. It's not fun to, let's just say you're not going against the same players, but you are going against the same levels and the same stars, and you just can't win, and it's super frustrating. That's not fun, right? And so, not to beat a dead horse, we all understand that a lot can be done with the rank system itself. We also understand that a lot can be done with how the game functions in general. But I don't know. Again, I know that the game was designed to be how it is. So it's not really, it doesn't really make much sense to keep talking about how you wish it would be. You know, technically it's like, oh, I wish, that's true. But if they don't care, or if they don't want to do it, or they could be having struggles, I really wish they would just tell us, like, we've tried. It just does not work that way. I would just be like, okay, I got you. But it would just be, it's such a good game to not think about that from the start. You know, like if you had a game plan and someone was like, hey, I got this dope kart racer coming, and it's got Disney characters in it, and like, the driving is so unique. It's kind of like a race game. Not really like a kart game, but it's like a racing game too. And you could like drift and go crazy. Plus you could do tricks, and there's a lot of like skills set that you need to do it. It's a steep learning curve, especially for like good players. That's my idea though. Check it out. Here's a beta. Here's a pilot. Here's an alpha. Whatever you want to call it. The thing that you give to the person that decides to sign and fund the company, or the studio. I don't know how that works. Stress. But basically, like if you have that idea that pitched it and they enjoy it, why would that not be part of the idea to say, hey, let's make it also a competitive thing, because people like competitive games. People like the ability to get better at something, and people like the ability to get better at something, and they like the ability to say, after I lost that race, oh dude, I should have done that better. All right, let's go for another one. Oh dude, I missed that jump. I knew that was the jump I should have I should have taken, and I didn't take it. Oh, that feeling, and then going back in and getting better at that is amazing. But that does not happen in Speedstorm, and even in regulated play, that does not happen. A lot of people are saying regulated is fair, but it's not. And I mean, I'm not gonna go too deep into that, but it's not fair. It's better, but it's not fair. It's better, but it's not fair. So I'm gonna just leave you off with that right there. But I would just think a game that's designed this well, like I said, League of Legends, Overwatch, even Rocket Racing right now, like these are games, like any competitive game, they have a big following because they can learn, they can get better, they can improve, and what they've learned, what they've done shines through the game, and it feels like you're progressing on a whole nother level. Steven, thank you. I appreciate the comment. Also, I still appreciate you being part of the Popping Off the Lofted Club. Click that join button down below. We do got some new stuff coming out this new year for the Popping Off the Lofted members as well as non-members, but the members gonna have some good stuff. Let's move on to the next comment. Steven, thank you once again. The next comment is from Nano Blaster. You back again, Nano Blaster? What you trying to do? Now, I like Nano Blaster because I played against Nano Blaster several times. So whenever I guess anybody comments that I just play with over and over, not just Nano Blaster, but anyone I play with over and over again, it's like I know they feel what I feel. You know what I'm saying? Because we all in the same rank, we all in the same game. We all get frustrated too. So they said, I find that most of the time when I lose in rank, it's almost always because someone is a higher level than me, or has better crew members than me. Other than that, I feel like I can drive with the best of them. Right, that right there is exactly what I mean. Let's eliminate everything and let's just stick with the I feel like I can drive with the best of them. That is something that feels amazing. But because of what they said before, there is no I can hang with that, right? If someone puts more money into it, if someone puts more time into it, if they've been just around for a long time, they're mostly going to be outstatted. And you personally could say, dude, I've gotten so good. I've gotten so good at Speedstorm, dude. I've learned how to drift. I learned how to manage my boost. I've done all this. And then you play ranked and none of that matters. That sucks, dude. Like, that's not fun. It's like, well, then none of that matters. If I could just pay and just be faster without doing any of the work that I just learned how to do, then where's the satisfaction in that? I will say, if you are overstated, it feels good. No, it does feel good. I hate winning because I'm overstated, but through all the nonsense you deal with a character, once you hit that star up and you don't have to deal with it anymore, it's like a weight lifted off your shoulders, and it just feels like, oh, feels so good to be like where you guys are, or it feels so good to be over your stats. Like, especially if you're going against the same person back to back to back, being on their star level makes it so much more bearable because you can actually play the game than being under their star level. So again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but again, I've raced against Nano Blaster plenty of times, and it's always close because we were always the same star level or the same level. But you know, at the end of the day, if I swap to another character that I have more stars than him or more crew levels than him, he's screwed. And that's dumb. It's like, how are we, when we're even, how on earth are we even? And then when I overstat you, I just obliterate you, like I destroy you. It's like, what? How is that fair? So, I mean, I've never swapped on Nano Blaster. I would just continue to queue, but that's just what I'm saying. I've seen it happen. I would beat somebody, or I would watch someone beat somebody, and then they'd get so mad that they swap to another character, and then they just play a higher star level character and a higher leveled character just to not be beaten, which means like we're not learning how to get better at this point. It's just when you're that high, it's just who has the better blah blah blah, and that feel is just not good. Thank you, Nano Blaster. Let's move on to the next one. The last and final comment here from Cloudy Crow. What it do? Also another Poppin' Off the Lofted member. Good to see you. The two things that frustrate me the most are, one, getting hit by stun slows just before you get to a ramp, so you can't clear the jump and end up falling off the map. True, which is what we talked about. This usually leads to you respawning in 7th or 8th. True. The game doesn't even put you like closer to where you fall off. It like jetpacks you super far back, and it's like, bro, I don't even. Let me just hit this exit button real quick. With no chance of winning now, except for clocks, but it feels like you didn't really earn it. I agree. I agree, and that's what I was saying with like the stars. Like, some people don't feel like they earn it with the clock. I feel like I don't earn it with the stars. If I'm beating you because I have a higher star level, like my pride gets in the way, and it's like, this sucks, dude. Like, I see you got skills, but because the way the game is set up, I'm just stomping you. And it's not even because I'm better at this point. It's just because you didn't have a chance because the way that the game is designed. Like, that does not feel good. I mean, I guess maybe to some that feels good. I don't know. Some people like being overleveled. If it's an RPG, I will overlevel, but that's because I earned the right to be overleveled. If I don't earn the right to be overleveled and I just happen to just be around since early access and I got a whole bunch of higher levels, it's kind of like you don't really have a chance to compete, because it's not like you could play games and get to where I am. It's like you just have to wait or cash. So I feel you there. I feel you there. Okay, second thing is rams and abilities that knock you away, like Elizabeth. Oh my gosh, Elizabeth's gotta go. No, she gotta go. Any Elizabeth Swan mains, y'all just please just play another character for at least a week. Nah, a day? Can we do that? No Elizabeth Swans for a day, banned. That character is nutty, and that's not even the only one. There's so many more characters that when they are 4 or 5 stars, it's just unreal how unfun it is to play against them. It's ridiculous. Let's continue. Usually it isn't that bad, but I hate when I get bumped into where my cart's stuck facing a wall. Then I need to slowly reverse and pick up speed all over again. I do agree. By the time you pick up speed again, you're already in 8th with no chance of catching up in higher elo lobbies. Agreed, agreed, agreed. If you played since early access and you get to the top, you are still going to be outclassed by those who bot. It doesn't matter, because the people that are at the top that bot usually are the same people that were in early access or were in the early days of Speedstorm, which means they have what you have, but they have more because they spent more. And that's what kind of makes ranked a little unfulfilling. It's because you're climbing a ladder that theoretically is supposed to mean that the higher you get, the better you are. The higher you get, the more you earned. And what's waiting for you at the top a lot of the times is like failure. It's like you're climbing the rank to fail. And again, I wanted to hit the top 100 just because I wanted to see, like, I never really wanted to climb it because I understood the rank ladder. I understood that it really just depends on, you know, how much you play it and how many stars you have. It's inevitable. You will climb the rank ladder if you do have more stats than somebody else. And if you have more stats than a lot of the players and you put the time in to just race over and over and over and over again, whether you are good or bad, you will climb that ladder. Once I realized that's what the ranked ladder was about, I stopped playing ranked. But I wanted to get top 100 just to see what it was like being there. And it's horrible. I don't really urge anyone to try that. This sounds so bad, but it feels horrible. I'm not saying don't play ranked, but if you want to really hit the top, I mean, you're gonna have to cash, dude. You're gonna have to put some money on that game, because a lot of people up there, that's what they do. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how much how much practice you put into the game. If you are overstated than someone else, you will win. If you're the same stats, that's where skill comes into play, of course, because obviously now you just got to outrace somebody. But even then, some characters are just better. Let's just say I play Aladdin and he's 4 or 5 stars. Well, you're not beating me. I don't care who you are. That character's busted. And so now, not only are you overstated, but you also are playing a character that basically just gets free wins. There's a lot of characters in this game that gives you free wins like that, especially when you're a higher star and higher leveled, which then makes you, again, feel like failure. It's like I'm climbing a ladder. The ladder is hard to climb in the first place because unless you're overstated, it's painful. And then once you get to the top, you're there, and the only thing there is failure. Or the only thing there is more pain. And that's not what a ranked ladder should be designed to do. I know that got a little bit heavy at the end there, and I'm not telling you guys not to play ranked. I'm just saying if you're going to attack ranked, if you're going to attack a certain rank, if you're going to attack a certain spot on the leaderboard, make sure your stats are backing you up first and then go into it. Think of it like a dungeon, right? If a dungeon's level is level 40 and you're level 35, you already know that you shouldn't go. You're going to get blasted. You want to make sure that you are the correct level. You want to make sure that you are over leveled. You want to make sure that you are prepared for the races that you're going to be having with that character. This is exactly why if I'm 2-star, I stop at diamond. And if I am 3-star or 4-star, I just stop at champion. There's no reason for me to climb to grand champion or ultimate champion because it's really annoying. It's really painful. There's nobody even there. And unless you're 5-star, it's just going to be, everybody up there is 5 stars, really. Honestly speaking, everybody up there is 5 stars or very, very close to it. And that's not something I really want to be a part of. I did it once. So I've gotten high once just to see what it's like, because I don't like to be someone who never tried anything and then just say things about it. I've gotten multiple characters to champion, and I've gotten 2 or 3 to grand champion. I actually don't remember, to be honest with y'all. But I've climbed that up there, and once I'd done it, and then I was like, all right, stay. If you really want to get that high, you're gonna have to put some money into it. The fun rank, in my opinion, is like emerald and diamond. Maybe platinum is kind of fun too, but the matchmaking is so flawed right now that a lot of things are bleeding into each other, and a lot of things are, the matchmaking is just unbalanced in terms of like, you're gonna get people that are higher level than you, and then you race an entire race of 3 to 4 minutes or something like that. That's a lie. It ain't no 3. It's like 2 minutes. About 2 minutes of your time, you race, and when you end, you find out that you lost because everybody's higher level than you, or worse, you lose to a clock. And what's even worse is losing to a clock of someone that's higher stats than you. It's like, how did you get a clock when you are a higher stat level than me, bro? Like, what type of backward stuff is this? So, don't want to end on a sour note. I'm not saying don't play ranked. I'm saying have the stats to back you up to play ranked. Ranked right now is more of a numbers game. Do you have the stars? Do you have the level? Okay, then since I've trained my Pokemon, I've trained my, I've trained my character, I've trained my Pokemon, I'm about to go play ranked and battle it against yours. That's what ranked is right now. It is not a skill game. It is literally I've trained my Pokemon, let me fight yours. If my Pokemon's better than yours, I win. There are certain circumstances, like I said, I've raced underleveled and understarred. I could still win, but most players aren't like me, and most players don't play like that. There's no reason to. Don't be like me. Wait till you're statted. But that's how the game's designed. That's how it's always going to be designed until they fix the system. So to round this out, I'm saying play ranked. Do your thing, boo-boo. But go at it when you have the stats. Also, don't go crazy, because as long as you have the stats and the time, you will be able to reach any spot on that leaderboard you want to. It's not about how good you are in terms of racing. It's just about how many stars and levels do you have, and do you have the time to play as many games needed to get to that spot to earn that many points. That's all the ranked ladder is right now, at least right now. Maybe season 6, they'll break up the mode. We're gonna have a skill mode, and then we're gonna have that type of mode, which I'd be down for. Again, I don't want to discredit the people that are paying or the people that have all these stats. I don't want to discredit them, because you're using money to get those stats, right? Like, and you're playing all these events to get those stats. You're beasting, and you deserve to show that you're beasting. But don't put the players that like to beast like that and really compare stats with a group of people who just don't care, and they'd rather just play for skill. That's a whole different ball game, and that should not be something that they put together, especially when they hide rewards behind it. That's just, I don't know. Of course, it's just a podcast. Of course, it's just me talking. Of course, I don't know nothing. I don't know everything. I'm just giving you my thoughts, and I'm just reading your thoughts. Thank you guys for watching. Until next time, you know what I always say. Thank you guys for doing what? Popping often. Well, often.